We are hitting at 67% in our last 15 NFL tier package picks on patreon.com/Brock Page. We're also 3-0 with a push in our last 4 board member tier package picks on that site as well. And if you want to join the community of over 775 handicappers that are signed up and active on that page, link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that is patreon.com/Brock Page. And with that said, guys, we're going to dive into some Christmas Day football. I'm talking about Vikings versus the Saints, and that's going to be a 4:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff this Friday. The Saints are the 7-point favorite at home. Total's 52, juice to the under. And guys, please feel free to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And please feel free to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Now, the Minnesota Vikings are plus 260 on the money line in this ball game here. And despite a little bit of a, I guess you would call it a rough patch recently, the Vikes have still been victorious in 5 out of their last 8. Minnesota's also 4-2 against the spread on the road this season. They rank in the top 5 in the league in rushing, top 10 in pass defense away from home. Now they're taking on a Saints squad who's on a 2-game losing streak themselves, 0-2 against the number in those ball games. The Saints are also just 3-4 against the spread in the Superdome this season. They're in the bottom 10 in the league in fourth quarter scoring. And when it comes to the total in this one, 5 out of the Saints' last 7 outings stayed under the posted number. Meanwhile, 2 out of the Vikings' last 3 stayed under the line themselves. 4-2 to the under when they travel. I'm going to lean toward the underdog Minnesota Vikings plus 7, keeping that one close, and the under 52 in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick time out and welcome you to the video. Got some lines and personal leans out for NFL Week 16. Only 2 weeks to go, and then we are in the playoffs. This season absolutely flew by. Now, guys, before we, go ahead and dive into some more free content right here on YouTube, just got to quickly remind you once again that we are hitting at, what are we hitting at? 67% in our last 15 NFL tier package picks on patreon.com/Brock Page. We're also 3-0 with a push in our last 4 board member tier package picks on that site as well. Now you might be wondering, why would you sign up for picks on Patreon where you can get them right here for free on YouTube? And well, that's certainly a great thought, a great consideration. I'd probably be thinking the same thing if I were you. But, if you were to go out there and bet every single game that's on the board, side and total, like I do with my breakdowns here on YouTube, it's certainly not a winning formula for success. And as a matter of fact, it's a recipe for disaster. I strongly do not advise betting every single game on the slate. The books are way too smart. They're way too sharp with the numbers. The odds become massively more against you the more and more games you play like that. And to be honest with you, the bookies just have so much more money than you and I do combined to be able to absorb that type of action. So what I do on Patreon is I break it down and focus in on just 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're my personal plays, games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, I'm having a lot more success betting on games that way in smaller sample sizes versus, wagering on every single game that is on the card, side and total. Now, if you guys were wondering, once again, we currently have over 775 handicappers signed up and active on that site. And if you want to join those folks and get in on the action, I highly recommend it. I think it'd be a great idea for you, and I'd love to have you. Link for that site is in the description section below. And once again, that's patreon.com/Brock Page. Moving on, we're going to take a look at some Saturday action. That's going to be on December 26th. I'm talking about the Bucs versus the Lions, 1 p.m. Eastern start time in Detroit. The Tampa Bay Bucs are the 9-point favorite on the road. Totals 54 flat. Tampa's on a 2-game winning streak, 57 total points they scored in those ball games. The Buccaneers have also been a very good road team this season, 5-2 straight up when they travel. The Bucs are scoring 31 points a game away from home, top 5 in the league in road passing. Now Tampa is taking on a Detroit squad who lost their last 2 straight themselves, just 2-6 straight up in their last 8 as well. The Lions are also just 1-5 straight up at Ford Field this season, and they rank dead last in the league in offensive time of possession. And speaking of dead last, Detroit is dead last in points allowed this season as well. They are also giving up 34 points per contest on their home turf. Now, 6 out of Detroit's last 8 ball games got over the posted total, 5-1 to the over on their home field. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Tampa's gone 71% to the over when they traveled this season as well. Give me the Tampa Bay Bucks -9 in the over 54. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be in the NFC West. More Saturday action here for you. I'm talking about the Niners versus the Cardinals. 4:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff in the desert. The Cardinals are the 4.5-point favorite at home. Total's 49 flat. Now Arizona's on a 2-game winning streak. They also went 2-0 against the spread in those contests. The Cardinals are scoring 31 points a game on their home field, and they rank in the top 10 in yards per play. Meanwhile, defensively, Arizona's giving up just 214 passing yards per contest. They're taking on a Niners squad who lost their last 3 straight themselves, and they also failed to cover the number in 6 out of their last 7. Now, the 5-9 49ers have also lost 8 out of their last 10 head-to-head meetings with Arizona. So if you're into historical trends, Arizona's really had the Niners number over the past couple of seasons or so. Now, total-wise, 2 out of the Niners' last 3 got over the posted number. Meanwhile, 6 out of Arizona's last 8 got over the line themselves. The Cards are also 71% to the over at State Farm Stadium. I'm going to lean toward the Arizona Cardinals -4.5 in the over 54. Next contest, more Saturday action. This is the night game. I'm talking about the Dolphins versus the Raiders, and that's going to be an 8:15 p.m. Eastern kickoff in Sin City. The Fins are -3 on the road, totals 47.5. The Dolphins have won 3 out of their last 4 contests, 8-2 straight up in their last 10. The Dolphins are also first in points allowed, top 10 in pass defense on the road. Xavier Howard's got 9 total interceptions from the secondary, 17 PBUs for the corner. Now, keep an eye on Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki. Those are 2 offensive weapons for the Dolphins. They are questionable for Miami, so keep an eye on them. I do expect them to play, but they are a little bit banged up, so just observe their status. Now, they're taking on a Raider team who failed to cover the point spread in their last 4 straight, while also losing 4 out of their last 5 ball games straight up. Las Vegas has lost 5 of 7 at home this season, and they are dead last in yards per play allowed at home. The Raiders are giving up over 31 points a game on their home field, along with 301 pass yards a game in that same category. When it comes to the total in this one, Vegas is 6-1 to the over at Allegiant Stadium, 11-3 to the over for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward the Miami Dolphins -3 and the over 47.5. And with that, we're going to dive into some Sunday action. I'm talking about the Bears versus the Jags, 1 p.m. Eastern start time in Jacksonville. The Bears are -7 on the road, totals 47 flat. Now, Chicago's on a 2-game winning streak, 2-0 against the number in those victories. The Bears are in the top 10 defensively in yards allowed per play, top 10 in pass defense on the road. Now, Buster Screen and Cordero Patterson are questionable for Chicago. Keep an eye on those guys, but they are taking on a Jags team who lost 13 of 14 on this season, and they also dropped 6 of 7 at home. The Jaguars are in the bottom 3 in points allowed, dead last in yards allowed per play. Jacksonville is giving up over 30 points per contest. And when it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of the Jags' last 4 got over the posted number. Meanwhile, Chicago went 3-1 to the over in their last 4 themselves. Give me the Chicago Bears -7 in the over 47. Next contest, Bengals, Texans, 1 p.m. Eastern start time at NRG Stadium in Texas. Houston's the 9-point favorite at home, totals 46. The Bengals are +280 for an upset win. And speaking of upsets, since he's coming fresh off a double-digit victory over Pittsburgh, The Bengals are 9-5 against the spread overall for the season. Von Bell has 103 tackles thus far in the season, 4 TFLs and 2 forced fumbles. Bell's also got 5 PBUs from that safety spot, 2 fumble recoveries as well, and of course he had that iconic hit on Juju Smith-Schuster this past Monday. Of course, can't forget about Jesse Bates, who also has 97 tackles for the Bengals on the year, 15 PBUs himself. Bates also has 3 interceptions and a forced fumble from the secondary. Cincy has successfully covered the point spread in 5 out of their last 6 against the AFC South. And speaking of which, Houston is on a 3-game losing streak themselves, just 2-4 straight up at NRG Stadium this season. The Texans are dead last in the league in rushing offensively, and they also rank dead last in the NFL in defensive time of possession. Houston allows over 150 yards a game rushing. And when it comes to the total on this one, Houston's last 3 straight stayed under the posted number. They're also 75% to the under in their last 8. The Bengals on the other side saw 4 out of their last 5 stay under the line themselves. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals +9 and the under 46. Next matchup, it is going to be Falcons versus the Chiefs, 1 p.m. East. Kansas City's -10, totals 54. KC's won their last 9 straight, first in the league in passing, first in yards per play. Patty Mahomes is approaching 4,500 yards passing on the season. 36 total touchdown passes for the gunslinger. Travis Kelce's over 1,300 yards receiving himself. Tyreek Hill's over 1,200 yards as well. Both men have combined for 25 total touchdown receptions. Look for this Chiefs offense to rely on Bell and Williams in the backfield as Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out indefinitely with a lower body injury. Now they're taking on a Falcons team who's on a 3-game losing streak, 1-4 straight up in their last 5. Atlanta's in the bottom 3 in pass defense, bottom 5 in yards allowed per play. Julio Jones is also questionable with a hammy. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, Atlanta's seen 4 out of their last 5 stay under the posted number. The Falcons are officially 70% to the under in their last 10. Meanwhile, the Chiefs on the other side saw 2 out of their last 3 stay under the line themselves, throwing out the Saints game. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean toward the Kansas City Chiefs -10 and the under 54 in that game. Next contest, it is going to be Colts versus the Steelers, 1 p.m. Eastern kickoff at Heinz Field. Indy's -3 on the road, totals 44.5. The Colts have failed to cover the point spread in 2 out of their last 4. They rank in the bottom 10 in the entire league in pass defense on the road. The Colts are also in the bottom 10 in the NFL defensively in first quarter points allowed. Now they're taking on a Pittsburgh team who, despite struggling over the past couple of weeks, they still find themselves in the top 3 in the league in pass defense. The Steelers are also very good at home, 6-1 straight up. Excuse me. Let's try that again. 6-1 straight up in the Steel City, top 3 in home rush defense. Pittsburgh's giving up just 17 points per contest at Heinz Field. TJ Watt's got 13 total sacks on the season. And when it comes to the total in this one, Pittsburgh's 4-3 to the over on their home turf this season. Indy on the other side is 71% to the over when they travel. So I'm going to actually lean toward the underdog Pittsburgh Steelers +3 and the over 44.5. All right, next matchup I have for you, it is going to be Browns versus the Jets, 1 p.m. Eastern start time in New Jersey. The Browns are -9 on the road, totals 47 flat. Cleveland's won 5 out of their last 6 ball games, 5-2 straight up this season when they travel. Now the Browns are in the top 3 in the league in rushing, top 10 in offensive yards per play. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt have combined for over 1,700 rushing yards and 15 total touchdowns on the ground. Meanwhile, defensively on the other side of the ball, the Browns have a top 10 rush defense. Now they're taking on a 1-13 Jet squad who's last in scoring, last in passing. They're also ranking last in offensive yards per play, and they're in the bottom 3 in pass defense. The Jets are officially 0-7 straight up at MetLife Stadium, and when it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of New York's last 5 got over the posted number. throwing out the Rams game. The Jets are also 4-3 to the over this season at home. Meanwhile, Cleveland on the other side saw 3 out of their last 4 get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Cleveland Browns -9 and the over 47. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Giants versus the Ravens, 1 p.m. East. The Ravens are -11 at home, totals 45 flat. The Ravens are 3-0 straight up in their last 3, 4-0 against the spread in their last 4. The Ravens averaged over 40 points per contest in their last 3 victories, and they find themselves first in the league in rushing. Meanwhile, defensively, Baltimore's in the top 5 in fewest points allowed per contest, top 10 in fewest yards allowed per play. Baltimore has won their last 9 straight meetings with a member of the NFC Conference. The Giants, on the other side, they're on a 2-game losing streak. Just 13 total points they scored in those 2 ball games combined. The G-Men have also failed to cover the point spread in 3 out of their last 4, and they rank second to last in the NFL in scoring. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the number in this one, New York's last 6 straight ball games stayed under the posted number. No real surprise there. The G-Men are officially 6-1 to the under away from home. I'm going to lean toward the Baltimore Ravens -11 and the under 45. Next contest, it is going to be Broncos versus the Chargers, 4:05 p.m. Eastern kickoff in Los Angeles. The LA Chargers are -3 at home, totals 49, juice to the under. The Denver Broncos are +160 for some money line cash. Now, if you like the Broncos in this matchup here, just keep in mind they've lost 5 out of their last 7 ball games, just 3 and 4 straight up on the season when they travel. The Broncos are scoring just 19 points per contest and throwing for less than 205 yards a game. Boye's still out. Chubb is questionable. Denver's taking on a Charger team who's on a 2-game winning streak themselves, playing some really exciting football. I think there's a lot of interest in the Chargers right now with Justin Herbert. But anyway, the Chargers are 2-0 against the spread in their last 2 contests as well. LA's in the top 5 in passing. Justin Herbert's throwing for nearly 3,800 yards along with 27 touchdown passes. Keenan Allen's just 8 yards shy of 1,000 receiving. 8 total touchdown receptions for the veteran wide receiver. The Chargers are also in the top 5 in pass defense at home, first in the league in home defensive time of possession. Now, Joey Bosa is listed as questionable. He's a little bit banged up, so keep an eye on him. And when it comes to the total in this one, the Chargers are 70% to the over in their last 10 ball games. Denver, on the other side, saw their last 2 straight get over the posted number themselves. 4-3 to the over when they travel. Give me the LA Chargers -3 in the over 49. All right, next contest I have for you, it is going to be Panthers versus the football team. 4:05 p.m. Eastern start time in Landover. The football team's -1.5 at home, totals 44 at a hook. Washington's been one of the best covering teams in the NFL over the past couple of months or so. They're 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 straight, 7-2 against the number in their last 9. Now, Washington's also been victorious in 4 out of their last 5 ball games. Washington's first in the NFL in home pass defense. They're also in the top 3 in home yards per play. Kendall Fuller has 4 interceptions from the secondary. Sweat, Young, and Kerrigan have combined for 18 total sacks between the 3 of them. They're taking on a Panthers team who just lost their last. They've lost their last 3 straight. They're also just 1-8 straight up in their last 9. Now, Okung and McCaffrey are banged up again. Carolina's just 2-5 straight up away from home, by the way. The Panthers are in the bottom 10 in road scoring, bottom 10 in defensive yards per play. Now, total-wise, 2 out of Carolina's last 4 stayed under the posted number. Meanwhile, Washington is 80% to the under in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the Washington football team -1.5 and the under 44 and a hook. Next ball game, it is going to be Eagles versus the Cowboys, 4:25 p.m. Eastern kickoff at Jerry World. The Eagles are the 2-point favorite on the road, totals 49.5. Now, the Eagles have lost 5 out of their last 6 ball games, just 1-6 straight up in their road games for the season as well. The Eagles are in the bottom 10 in road scoring, bottom 10 in road pass defense. Philly's giving up over 28 points per contest when they travel. Slay and Jackson are questionable. The punter's also questionable as well. Now, the Eagles are taking on a Cowboys squad who's on a 2-game winning streak themselves. 4-2 against the spread in their last 6 as well. The Cowboys are in the top 10 in pass defense. Jalen Smith has 133 total tackles on the season, 6.5 TFLs, and 5 PBUs. Meanwhile, offensively, the Cowboys, believe it or not, they've scored 71 total points in their last 2 contests, 102 total points in their last 3 victories. Gallup and Zeke are both questionable on the offensive side. I do expect them to play, but keep an eye on them. Meanwhile, defensively, Van Der Esch and both Woodses are questionable on the D. Now, total-wise, 4 out of Dallas's last 5 got over the posted number. They're also 71% to the over on their home turf this season. Meanwhile, the Eagles saw their last 2 straight get over the line themselves. The Jalen Hurts era putting up a couple of overs here, but I'm going to lean toward the Dallas Cowboys +2 and the over 49.5 in that game. Next contest, it is going to be Rams versus the Seahawks, 4:25 p.m. Eastern kickoff in Seattle. The Seahawks are the 1.5-point favorite. Total's 47.5. Seattle's still in the hunt for a first-round bye, so although they clinched a playoff spot last week, they still have a little bit, something to play for here. Seattle's gone 6-1 straight up at home this season. Another reason why, they would want to get home field. They're also 5-2 against the spread in those home ball games. Now, the Seahawks rank in the top 3 in the league in home scoring, top 10 in home yards per play. Russell Wilson's eclipsed 3,800 yards passing, along with 37 touchdown heaves. DK Metcalf has also eclipsed 1,200 receiving yards along with 10 touchdowns. Meanwhile, defensively on the other side of the ball, the Seahawks are giving up just 22 points per contest at home and just 99 rush yards a game in that same category. Now, they're taking on a Rams team who just lost to the winless Jets this past week. LA also ranks dead last in the league in second quarter points allowed. Total-wise, LA saw 2 out of their last 4 get over the posted total, throwing out the Jet game. The Rams are also 4-3 to the over when they travel themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Seattle Seahawks -1.5 and the over 47.5 in that game. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into some Sunday night football. I apologize about the screen in the back. But anyway, we're taking a look at the Titans versus the Packers, 8:20 p.m. Eastern start time at Lambeau. The Packers are the 3.5-point favorite. Total's 56 flat. The Packers have failed to cover the point spread in their last 2 straight failures to cover against the likes of Carolina and Detroit. They also failed to cover the number in 5 out of their last 8, and that includes games against Jacksonville and Minnesota. Now, the Packers are in the bottom 10 in fourth quarter scoring. They're also in the bottom 10 in defensive fourth quarter points allowed. Now, they're taking on a Tennessee squad who's on a 2-game winning streak, 4-1 straight up in their last 5. Tennessee's also successfully covered the number in 5 out of their last 7 ball games. They're 5-1 straight up on the road, and they score over 31 points per contest. The Titans are also in the top 3 in rushing, top 10 in defensive points allowed on the road. Derrick Henry's approaching 1,700 yards rushing, along with 15 touchdowns on the ground. Now, let's try that again. Total-wise, Green Bay on the other side, their last 3 straight all stayed under the posted number. The Pack has also gone 4-3 to the under at Lambeau. I'm going to lean toward the underdog Tennessee Titans +3.5 and the under 56 in that ball game. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Monday Night Football. I'm talking about the Bills versus the Pats, 8:15 p.m. Eastern start time. The Buffalo Bills are -7 on the road. Total's 46. The Bills are on a 4-game winning streak, 7-1 straight up in their last 8. Buffalo's also in the top 5 in scoring, top 3 in passing. Josh Allen's thrown for 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. Now, Buffalo's taking on a New England squad who's been officially eliminated from the playoffs, 0-2 straight up in their last couple of ball games. The Patriots are in the bottom 10 in scoring, Dead last in the NFL in home passing. The Patriots are throwing for just 136 yards a game in Gillette Stadium. And when it comes to the total on this one, Buffalo saw 5 out of their last 7 ball games get over the line. The Bills are officially 6-1 to the over as the road team. I'm going to lean toward the Buffalo Bills -7 and the over 46. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our quick pick recap. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are hitting at 67% in our last 15 NFL tier package picks on that website. I like Minnesota +7 under 52. I like Tampa Bay -9 over 54. I'm leaning toward the Cardinals -4.5 over 54. I also like the Dolphins -3 over 47.5. I'm leaning toward the Bears -7 over 47. I like the Bengals +9 under 46. I also like the Chiefs -10 under 54. I'm leaning toward the Steelers +3 over 44.5. I also like the Browns -9 over 47. I like the Ravens -11 under 45. I'm also leaning toward the Chargers -3 over 49. I also like Washington -1.5 under 44.5. I'm leaning toward the Cowboys +2 over 49.5. I'm also leaning toward Seattle -1.5 over 47.5. I like Tennessee +3.5 under 56. And last but certainly not least, please give this video a thumbs up right now if you enjoyed it by smashing the like button. I'm leaning toward the Buffalo Bills -7 on Monday Night Football and the over 46 points. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into some shout-outs from our YouTube platform. Shout out to Howard Marvel, Anthony Castillo, Ant Ruga, Scott Kaler, Bo Dunn, Rec Shop 51. Also want to give a shout out to Straight to the Point, Dongmo Joseph, Arthur Mead Jr., and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to my guy, Vernon Williard. Merry Christmas, Vern. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today, just keep in mind, we'll bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. Most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.